This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. Central Texas Life with Ann Harder presents Central Texas Events.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Events, and we have a very exciting event to tell you about coming up on the 4th of April at the Bell County Museum. So we have Coleman Hampton here, who's the executive director, and my friend Hope, Dr. Hope Koch. And I'm just so happy to get to talk to you again. Last time we visited, you were the keynote speaker for a Leading Waco Women event.
Yes.
Was that last year?
It was this time last year.
Last year. And of course, we had so much fun talking about your running and all the stuff you do. A lot of the mutual friends that we have, folks that we knew back in the Temple area. But Coleman, you've had some great distinguished lectures.
Thank you.
And I mean, your series are just so interesting. And to tell you right off the bat, you live stream them.
Yes.
So
yes.
you can watch if you can't happen to be there in the museum.
We do some. I'm not sure. It kind of depends on the speaker, but we do live stream some of our talks. And this is part of our spring lecture series, which we started in 2018. It typically features 3 or 4 speakers on a variety of subjects. So we'll have leaders in business, history, art.
You had a NASA
astronaut, Dr.
Yeah.
Bernard Harris, who was the first African-American astronaut to do a spacewalk. Drayton McLean, author S.C. Gwynn, Brian Burrow, who's a well-known author from Temple, who's actually coming out with a big book in June. So we've had a lot of great speakers, and and I was telling Hope this the other day, we have made an effort to keep the lecture series free and open to the public. So there's no cost barrier. We try to get the word out, and I appreciate you having us here today to get the word out that these are interesting, timely lectures that are meant to benefit the people, for people who want to listen to them.
Yeah, and so this is going to be on the 4th. And
Yes.
What time is the talk?
So the talk will start at 6 p.m.
Okay. So get there early, because it is a limited seating area.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I will tell you, downtown Belton is growing, and as we've seen here in Waco, the parking situation is getting a little more dense than it used to be.
Yeah.
So I would recommend, if you'd like a good seat, try to get there early. We do have parking around the museum, and then of course throughout downtown Belton.
Yeah. Well, you are going to want to hear this lady, because what's interesting, Hope, of course, your experience with technology and all that sort of thing. Of course, you're a professor in the Hankamer School of Business, but you've kind of really gotten into the whole AI thing.
Yes, and
Which is so interesting.
It is actually so interesting. And I just left the big AI conference at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. And I've got to tell you, even the futurist, the title of my talk is called "The AI Scares Me," but it's really helpful. And even the top AI people that were at South by Southwest, that was really their sentiment. They're super excited about AI and what it can do, but there are a lot of concerns. And I also. So I sent my husband, and this is kind of how this particular talk happened. I sent my husband to a Getting Started with AI talk at South by Southwest, and I thought, okay, that's too simple for me. But I want you to go to that and tell me what you pick up. And even at that big South by Southwest conference, it was like the longest line ever.
Really?
And it was like tech people, but they were in the Getting Started. And so that just
That tells you a lot, right?
It tells you a lot. We see AI on the TV all the time, but a lot of people just want to know, like, what it is and do they want to get started. And so really, it is
scary.
Yeah, the session is actually hands-on though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it is. We are gonna the people that show up, they're gonna have homework.
Really?
Yeah. So we are gonna do AI in the session.
Okay.
We're going to learn about like 3 big trends, and they are going to have homework and actionable things that they have to do when they leave to get them started with AI.
Well, I've heard different things about it. The scary part is, I heard one story about an AI character, and it was a son and a dad, and they were just kind of playing with it, and whatever this character was just went off into some really dark, demonic kind of weird stuff. I mean, I heard that, and I went, oh.
Is it
But then I have friends who are like, oh, we used AI to rewrite a script or whatever, So, I mean, it's a wide range of possibilities of what this technology could,
and
be.
I would actually, just to be quite honest, my husband actually tells me, he's like, Hope, don't replace me with the AI. But so there's a big trend.
I know, podcasts. I mean, this might be a very numbered days for me, because you can create a podcaster through AI to talk about a subject, whatever, and you would never know it's not live people.
So
it's really...
Okay, so now that we're here, I've got to tell you this.
We're live. We really are people.
In one of the sessions, so picture this, Anne has, you've got all these podcasts recorded.
Oh, yeah, 560 something.
Yeah. So two things that'll blow your mind, and I actually saw this demonstrated. Let's just say that you get COVID or you get something where you can't speak. I saw a podcaster that he had his podcast, he knew what he wanted to say, and he got COVID, he couldn't speak, and so he himself, and I think he had the same tech skills you do, he himself was able to use AI to give a live podcast, not recorded, it was a live podcast of him talking even though he couldn't talk. Like I literally saw this 2 weeks ago.
Okay. My son has told me about that. He goes, Mom, you could just kind of create this podcast and the voices and everything. You're like, okay, well, I guess I would come up with something else to do in retirement. I don't know. But there are a lot of really, really good things that AI can do. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I'll just actually give, some very practical. I'm gonna in the session. I'm gonna give some very practical things. So we need to be fun. So in the session, we're actually going to plan a vacation,
okay.
And we're going to have AI plan.
Really?
Plan an entire vacation.
Of course, travel agents everywhere won't be happy about.
Yes. So that's a great thing.
Anyway,
AI can do, but then kind of more like business. Things. To give you an example, so my husband and I are both tax accountants, but we don't do a lot of tax accounting these days.
Right.
We chaired the school bond for Temple Independent School District.
Right.
And we had PAC money left. Hope got the bright idea to invest the PAC money in a CD. And that was really a bright idea until the interest statement came in and we realized we had to file a tax return.
Yes, of course.
That happened in January.
Yeah.
And I really had no idea. But I actually just told the AI the situation, and in 1 minute, it told me what form to get and where to mail it, and we were done.
Okay.
So I'm going to give. I'm not going to. So at this session, I'm not going to be pie in the sky. Oh, the AI. It's going to be very practical things that the folks are going to learn how to do. Another trend with AI that I heard a lot about was multi-agent systems and autonomous agents. So at a more complex level, what we're going to see in the next 5 years is, we're going to plan this vacation for Anne let's just go to Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And then Anne would have to book a lot of hotels, rental cars, and kind of make sure all that's working. They're saying that really in the next 5 years, you're going to have your own agent that is going to be an AI agent that is going to do all that for you. And your agent is going to interact with the agents of the hotels. Okay, but
and are the agents of the hotels also AI?
Yeah, they're AI agents, but. So that's a little mind blowing, and it's probably gonna be a little mind blowing for the. So just a funny story, mind blowing probably for the people coming to the talk. So their assignment in terms of autonomous and AI agents, their assignment is to ride in a Waymo. So you know what a Waymo is?
Mm-mm.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to know this. So the a Waymo is an autonomous car. And just got to tell this funny story. So I went to South by Southwest, and this they had just launched the Waymo, where you could ride in it. And I so wanted to do it, so I did all the things on how I could get in the Waymo, and you do it through Uber. But I think everybody wanted to do it. So I grabbed my husband's phone, and I'm like, you go to Austin more than I do. We're going to make this where you can get the autonomous car. So picture this last week, and my husband, Kevin, is 68 years old. He chairs the Bell County Tax Board, that's a very emotional, kind of stressful job. You're between the people that need the tax money and the ones that are being taxed too much.
Right.
He got off work from the Bell County Tax Board at 9 p.m. He drove to Austin because he had a meeting of the Texas Food Council. That next morning, he gets up to use the Uber to go to the state capitol. And a Waymo shows up.
Okay.
The self-driving car.
So he did it?
He needed to get to the Capitol, and the only thing is he could not figure out how to get in the door. So
that's a problem.
You actually have to. You can't just get in the door.
Yeah.
You actually have to use the app to get in the door. So my assignment so he got in the door, went to the Texas Capitol, had his meeting.
Did it wait for him for his meetings or not?
No. So kind of funny. So then it just was done, and then he didn't have to tip, the Waymo or anything.
That's good.
But meeting was over, and then he needed to get back to his hotel, and so he uses Uber, and another Waymo shows up.
Really? Was his lucky day?
And then people are asking him, was he scared, to ride in the Waymo? And he tells them, no, it was way better than riding with Hope.
Thank you very much. Well, we were in Phoenix not too long ago and saw one. I'd never seen one before, but my son, who is a software engineer, he goes, "Oh, look over there." I don't remember him calling it a Waymo, but he said it's a driverless car over there. And sure enough, this guy was just riding in the passenger seat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting for a lot of our audience who, AI has become a big point of conversation and part of the public discourse over the past 2 or 3 years. So it seems like it's a technology that's going to stay with us. And I think Hope, who's someone who is extremely knowledgeable on this subject, just talking to people about it, whether it makes them more comfortable or more leery of it, I think it will make them more comfortable. But just having some information and kind of knowing what we're talking about, so that I think people sometimes have a tendency with things like AI or things that are kind of short acronyms to just hear it and think, oh, that's bad or that's scary, without really, taking the time to look into it. And I agree. I honestly have not used. I just, in my museum line of work, don't really have the occasion to use AI, but I think it will be helpful, and that's part of the series, is things that are interesting, and I think this really could be a service to a lot of people, just to gain an understanding of what it is, and then let them make their own decision about it.
And it's not going away.
Guess.
It is definitely not going away. And of course, I think, as a Baylor professor too, kids using AI to write papers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, how will teachers ever know?
So that was our initial take, and I even had initially sort of an honor code, and I think Coleman and I even talked about that, because his wife is also a professor. So the professors are having some issues with that.
Yeah.
But I was just reading a World Economic Forum report, and it was saying that most people's jobs, 60% of that job is going to be done by an AI agent. And so our stance, or my understanding, our stance in the business school at Baylor is that, the students have got to learn how to use it. In fact, the first semester, it came out in November. They all used it to write their papers. That next semester, when we were on it, we were doing business cases. And so in my class, the students would tell their mom they were taking classes on AI. It was because our major group project was actually, think of a problem facing a business or society, and then do a business case on how AI can address the problem.
Yeah. So it may accelerate learning, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, my
For
assignments
sure.
are now harder.
Yeah,
because
I mean, it's like they're taking a step up as opposed to if everybody just has somebody else write whatever, they're going to get dumber because they're not going to know anything. So
it is really a step up. And I actually
Uh-huh.
just was in conversation with some of the leaders down at Texas A&M, and the Mays Business School at Texas A&M has just appointed an assistant dean of AI for their whole business school.
Wow.
Because they think AI is so important in business. So I've let the leaders of my business school know about that and kind of gave a suggestion on that.
well, that may be your next job move. I don't know. You sounds like you're kind of primed for a role like that. It's fascinating, though. It's great, and it's so wonderful, Coleman, that you're bringing this to the community through the wonderful Bell County Museum. Love that museum and everything you've got there. Anything new? What are you showing now?
So right now we have a wonderful exhibit from the National World War II Museum in New Orleans.
Yeah,
The
what a
title
great
of it
place.
is oh my goodness, I'm blanking. Again, it's an exhibit on Bob Hope.
Really?
And
Huh.
his time in the USO,
Uh-huh.
serving the U.S. Army. So it's a wonderful exhibit. It's of course focused on his time in the military, and it's really incredible for someone who didn't. I was very young when Bob Hope stopped performing, but it is
Right.
really interesting the service that he provided to the troops in World War II and other conflicts. So we. If some people in Central Texas aren't able to make it to New Orleans, we brought the part of the World War II Museum to them. It's a wonderful exhibit. I think Hope was able to walk through it a few days ago,
Yeah.
so that will be up through June. And
Okay.
of course, we have an enormous, really packed event calendar with things like historic escapes. We have a women's history event. This weekend, celebrating prominent women in Bell County, Asian Pacific Islander Day coming up in May. So, and then our final, so Hope is the second speaker in our spring lecture series. Our final speaker will be Dr. John Losey, who is an archaeologist from the Galt site. He's
I
actually
was going
the
to ask you
chair.
about the Galt site because you're the one that put me onto that, and
Yes.
they're coming right along with the film.
That's
The
right,
documentary
yeah. And I
on the
believe
Galt site. So
uh,
you're still taking folks down to the
yes,
you and the Williamson
so-
County Museum. I think that
Yes,
between the two of you,
the
you
Bell County Museum and Williamson Museum, you can get on either website and book. I think they're doing 2 tours a month of the Galt site,
that was one of my fun traveling Texas that I
Oh,
did.
yes.
Thanks to you, I walked
Well,
through
thanks.
your exhibit because we'd seen all the mustache cups that you
Right.
have there, and that came from the fact that it was a Carnegie Library,
Yes.
which is now the Bell County. So did a little story. It was kind of around that, but then I walked through this. I thought I knew a little bit about Texas, but I'd never heard of it before. And you went, "You have not? Well, let me put you in touch with somebody." So yeah, that was one of the most remarkable stories that I did for
Great.
Channel
Well, it
25
is
for Traveling
really
Texas. That was fun.
Yes, and the documentary "The Stones Are Speaking"
Yeah.
is airing on PBS now. It's really incredible. I learned so much about the Galt site just by watching the
Yeah.
documentary.
Yeah, it was so
it's
funny.
exciting
I
times.
picked up some piece of shale or something. I don't know. With help me with his name.
Is it Dr. Warnicki?
Yeah, Dr. Warnicki.
yes.
Dr. Warnicki. And I said, I said, can I take this home? He goes, no, you may not. That is all. I dropped it. It was so funny. I said, I can't have
Wow.
a souvenir. No, you may not. And we were standing on really what was the dump, what was considered the, the what do they call it? Anyway,
Kind of the
I've slept
refuse
since I did
pile
that
or
story. But
something.
yeah, the refuse pile, really, that they were able to learn so much about the truly ancient people. We've kind of hijacked your AI.
No, that's
We've
good.
gone from truly ancient people
Yeah.
to
No, I'm very
Artificial
interested in the
people.
Galt site too.
That's
Yeah.
That's the Bell County Museum from the
Yeah.
past all the way through the future.
Yeah, just absolutely great stuff. So again, 6:00 on the 4th, which is a Thursday. No, it's Friday.
It's a Friday.
Friday
Yes.
night the 4th, 6:00 at the Bell County Museum. Get there early to get a seat.
Yes. and
Is
we-
it going to be on? You going to do it on Facebook?
I don't think we're going to do this one
Oh,
on
okay.
streaming on Facebook.
Okay.
There's a lot of tech, so I'm doing hands-on with them.
I was going to say, I don't know how I can watch it on this and then do my assignment. So I was thinking already.
So there's a lot of technology going on in the presentation. So Coleman asked me about the streaming, and I'm thinking that just might be too much.
Well, do you video them?
Well, the issue, and remember, we are a mid-sized county museum, but our camera, in streaming it, really wouldn't be able to pick up what Hope was doing
what she was
on
doing,
the computer screen.
Okay.
But
So
I'll stand in the back with my phone and video it, and then I can send it to you so that you can see Hope's talk.
Well, I would like to come and be there if I can, but I tell you what, it's fascinating stuff. And thank you both for what you're doing to kind of bring us into this whole new thing.
Well, you are very welcome, and thank you for having us, Ann.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
And the real Ann, not a AI
I'm a real person, yeah. Pull the hair, and it's real hair, too. Anyway, good. You were with us today on Central Texas Events, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.